Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Basically, this is the 128th number part. So here, basically, we are discussing about the negative and positive energies, basically, and which says that we are passing each and every energies to the each and every cities, basically, according to the subscription, basically, you can say. So the each and every energies basically we are passing, that is basically on the basis of the subscription, basically whatever the subscription and data basically which is purchased by the World Bank, basically you can say, sorry, the World Bank basically sells the data, but World Bank is also purchasing from the set of groups, basically you can say. So here basically we are not going so much deep, basically. Then we will be reaching to the satellites, and then basically galaxies, then basically to the planets, basically then there would not be any end. So basically here we are telling that subscription data are basically purchased from the World Bank to each and every country. So countries are basically passing the money to the World Bank, basically, whatever the subscription amount basically they have paid. According to that, basically they are passing the um, money, and basically they are getting the subscription data, basically you can say. So here basically what is the main thing, basically here the main thing is whatever money you are paying, right? According to that only basically subscription you are getting. So that basically all verification government groups are basically by default doing only, because there are lots of professional groups, basically you can say, in software industry. For example, the World Bank is telling that we have passed this many software energies to the each and every cities. So basically, software energy departments, basically of the governments groups connected, they basically do the verification whether the data has correctly passed or not, whether the things has basically correctly passed or not, whether the ideas basically has passed or not. I have taken one example of the 16 ways, basically that is one of the ideas, basically. So like this, basically the TCS and Accenture basically don't know, but the top level management knows. Few top level management knows that 16 ways are passed to the TCS and Accenture, and from that basically the four ways basically has selected by the project directors and project managers while discussing with each other, basically. And that time basically the CRM project was not introduced in the market also, basically. So TCS and Accenture basically has introduced the CRM project in the market. So this is basically one of the secret data, basically you can say, which World Bank is passing. World Bank groups are passing basically to the each and every cities. So just to think, basically, like this is the smallest example of the software industry. So this is basically like this. Basically, the software industries groups are doing the verification. Yeah, basically the software, so the data amount basically which was passed as a subscription, that is basically correctly passed. So correctly the data was basically passed to the cities, basically where the TCS basically companies is there, and Accenture basically companies is basically doing the work. And basically Accenture group basically also have their power set of groups, basically who says that we are basically we sets the power energies, basically. So it's basically you can just imagine the each and every sectors of the, basically you can say, each and every sectors basically who are connected with the each and every things, basically. So like this basically you can say the Accenture got the data, the TCS got the data of the software subscription which was passed by the World Bank. So like this, the country experts, basically you can say government experts, basically they are told that yeah, we have verified the thing, basically the data which was passed from the subscription, and the subscription database was basically purchased by the country, basically, of that is basically Indian government, basically that are sitting in central government. They have basically whatever money they have spent, basically according to that the money, basically the software energy is passed to the cities, basically. And the proof, basically you can say, that is the four ways which is basically collected by the TCS and Accenture company, basically. Like this, the CRM project was introduced in the market, basically first time, basically any company basically created the CRM project, basically you can say. So you can just imagine the subscription data, basically how deep that subscription data is, basically the subscription data, basically how much deep it is. You can just imagine from this example only basically that 16 ways of things basically of the videos basically which has already discussed with you. So like this, there are 16 ways basically which is already discussed, and like this, each and every ways are basically also discussed in the um, um, you can say 16 ways are already discussed, and four ways basically was basically collected by the World Bank, sorry, by the Accenture and software TCS basically. So here basically TCS company don't know. The TCS company who are basically doing the meeting, who are discussing with the CRM project, they have the basically set of documents. Basically, you have to discuss these documents according to this is basically totally new project. We have given is this project name as a CRM, and you have to discuss this project. So on discussion, basically they connected to the four ways, and like this, basically subscription data was verified basically. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the things are basically connected. If basically you can say. So basically, it's very difficult to imagine also basically because TCS company also don't know that the 16 ways was basically passed by the World Bank, and from that 16 ways basically they are going to select these four ways basically. This whole thing basically nobody have basically. So like this basically this was about the 16 ways and four ways which was basically collected by the TCS and the Accenture group basically. Like this the four ways was basically selected, and this is basically one of the dangerous business also you can say, which ways basically has to be selected because on the ways base of that ways basically which is going to be used according to that basically the ways the human needs are going to be created basically. For example, there are four ways which was selected. From that four ways basically one ways was going to generate vegetables, second way was going to generate oil, third ways was going to generate petrol, fourth ways was basically going to generate uh, fruits basically. Like this basically there are 16 ways basically, so which basically human needs basically has to which human needs basically has to be in demand and supply. According to that basically the things are basically selected. So like this basically professional groups are there basically who sets the um, demand and supply basically, demand and supply chain basically, that also you can say. So there are many techniques basically who sets the demand and supply analysis basically, that yeah basically we require this demand, we require this material. So for that basically we need the demand is also low too much, but the supply is not very too much. So according to that basically they require this material basically, they require this data basically. So for that basically the professional groups are there, they set the ideas basically, yeah basically this idea has to take, but that basically very rare happens basically. That contains to the very dangerous business strategy basically you can say. That's very dangerous, but natural basically it's good basically according to the um, discussion basically. According to the discussion which are the ways basically which is getting connected, that is the best way basically you can say. By natural basically what are the things basically which is getting connected. So like that basically things are also there basically, and few professional groups are also there basically, they sets the way basically according to the metrics basically. So here we are not discussing that basically. So here we are discussing that what are the World Bank basically passing to uh, each and every city. So we have already discussed this. One of the best example is software energy. In that software energy, 16 ways are there, and from 16 ways, basically four ways was basically selected, and from this basically the software energy department of the India, that are basically experts of the government, they told that yeah basically the cover data which was basically sent by the World Bank basically they have sent correctly basically. So like this basically you can just imagine the thing basically. Like this government has taken the subscription, and government is telling that yeah basically we have verified also the subscription of the software energies. Like this software energy there are more than 1,000 sectors basically, which which group says that we are going to verify thing, and then basically we are going to submit the report basically. You can say we can give this name as a audit report basically, you can say the government data basically which is submitted by the set of groups basically you can say. So the government The World Bank is telling that, yeah, basically we are sending with a set of reports format. Then basically each and every sector basically from your country basically has to submit the audit report to us basically, so that basically we can verify basically the perfect data according to the money which you have given to us. According to that, the data has passed on. So this software energy department groups basically experts basically, they told that, yeah, basically our data is basically perfectly passed. We can submit the audit report. Like this, basically there are more than 1,000 types of subscription basically, which is basically available in the market. And according to that, basically there are 1,000 types of sectors basically, you can say. So according to the thousand types of sectors basically, we are going to verify each and every sector's data basically, you can say. So like this, the verification is happening. And then after the verification, each and every sector basically have to submit the audit report of the each and every sector. Industrial sectors are there, iron sectors are there, steel sectors are there, copper sectors are there, diamond sectors are there. There are many sectors basically, you can say, who basically says that we are going to pass the data to central government, and central government basically is going to pass this audit report data to the bank, World Bank basically. The World Bank basically says that we got the each and every data, and according to the data basically we are going to verify, we have verified the each and everything, and the data is basically perfectly correct basically. So here basically we were discussing about the 128 part. In 129 part, which we are going to discuss a little bit more about the formulas Bollywood.